Surprise! We got pigeons. How long have we had them now, Grace?
A month or two.
It's been about 2 months. We got racing Homer pigeons, and they are incredible animals. It's been quite a fun time keeping them so far. Why did we get them in the first place?
For fun, because I really wanted to.
I've always wanted to get pigeons since I was a kid. Actually, since I read a book called Under the Blood Red Sun about this kid during World War II in Japan, and his neighbor's grandfather kept pigeons. We got our pigeons from Stromberg's. Basically ordered them out of a chicken catalog. And they don't raise, I don't think Stromberg's actually raises the pigeons, but they work with a bunch of pigeon breeders. And we picked a grizzled racing Homer pigeon, and we bought a pair. And that's key because that comes in later in the video. If you stick around, you'll see,
Hi, Dad.
Hey bud, you'll see the result of what happens when you get a pair of pigeons. And it's amazing. Grace was actually gone at the beach with Bree and the other kids when they arrived. So the day they arrived, I went to the post office and picked them up. As the post office just called, and they actually have some birds down there for me. All right, there they are. They're probably going to be really thirsty, and I'm going to go ahead and confine them to this box for at least a day or two, just till they get used to being here, and in the end I will feed them out here, but for now they're going to go right in here. Unfortunately, these came a lot faster than I thought they would, and Miss Grace is not here for this. This is her and my joint project. It's okay. I think this is the male. You can't tell though. 100%. It's okay. He's kind of shaking. It's okay. Come on. Beautiful, beautiful. Ooh, let's get those wings. Let's get those wings. There you go. Alright, they're in there, and just chilling out, and that's exactly what we want. So I can't wait for Grace to get home and see them. For now they're just going to stay in here and get used to being here and calm down, recover, drink some water. The next thing that we wanted to do was figure out which pigeon was the male and which was the female. Because although there are some characteristics of the male and female, which maybe you can give some specific examples. I think Grace has read more about pigeons than I have. It's basically impossible to tell the difference between male and female pigeons without a DNA test, unless you see one laying an egg. There's some behaviors. So we started guessing which one is which one, and my first guess was wrong. But over the next couple weeks, we figured out that the gray grizzled one was the female. How did we figure that out? What was she doing?
She was feeding him.
But after they settled in, we gave them nest boxes and stuff. We were kind of waiting like, are they actually gonna do this? Are they gonna do what they're supposed to do? And it was a cool day when we first saw her feed him, which is, it's actually kind of mimicking the behavior of feeding the babies, because baby pigeons eat something, I guess they call it pigeon milk, and it's really the contents of the parent's crop that they spit up for the babies. I'm being assaulted here. Hey, will you stop hitting me with a sword? So that first day we saw her feeding him, they call it pigeon kissing, we knew, first of all, one, they were in love, two, they were probably on track in pairing with each other, and then they would probably go on to make baby pigeons. You don't want to do it while I'm here? This is our little pigeon loft. It's an old corn crib, and it's actually kind of a perfect setup. It actually looks like a pigeon loft.
My idea.
Say what?
I said it was my idea.
It was Grace's great idea. And then since we did this, we've actually seen other people who kind of did the same thing and are keeping pigeons in corn cribs, because corn cribs are everywhere out here. And it made the job of preparing to get pigeons a lot simpler. We still had some work. We built nest boxes, like this one right here. Grace, can you tell us the basic things that pigeons need? Just like if your shoes are on, you can come in here, buddy. They're in the car.
They really need like the right food. They're really picky, and they cannot go without water. They need like bird bath. They need their nest boxes need to be at least like 3 or 4 feet up off the ground, and they need like perches.
So we have some commercial perches right here. And the pigeons choose their spot. So they picked this box right here pretty quickly. And what did they first start doing when they picked their nest boxes?
Building their nest.
What does that look like?
They just get stuff and they just put it in a pile.
Would you say pigeons are like master nest builders?
No, they just find little crannies and they just put stuff in it.
In the wild, pigeons just basically they find a ledge or a cliff, or in many cases ledge on a building, and they just grab some sticks and throw them on there. It's basically just to keep the eggs from rolling off. They just make a little ugly little pile.
Yeah, like you just take this.
You
now have a pigeon nest.
That's a pigeon nest. That's what they do. They just throw it in there. It's kind of haphazard, but you know when you see them doing that activity, as with, say, ducks or geese, when they build their nest, you know that they're getting ready to lay an egg. So the next thing we saw was kind of breeding activity. I don't know if we actually saw them breeding, but they would just like sit on top of each other. They got super hyper focused on the nest, and they would sit in the nest. And then pigeons are really cool and unique. Then they lay 2 eggs over about 3 days. And so that's what happened when we first saw those first eggs. We were so excited. One really neat thing is that they actually share the duties of sitting on the eggs and of raising baby pigeons, which are known as squeakers or squabs. Squabs more properly. They actually share that duty. Now is it completely fair? No.
Because she gets to sleep in the nest.
Yeah, so that's right. The mom does the most hours, but she sleeps on it. So as far as daytime hours, actually the male does equal daytime hours, but the female generally would stay on the nest from about 6 p.m. till about noon the next day, and then the male from about midday till evening. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
And that went for sitting on the eggs, and then how many days does it take for pigeon eggs to hatch?
18.
18 or 19. So then what happened next? Guess what? The eggs hatched. And we had baby pigeons. And they are incredibly ugly and cute. Look what I found. There's an egg. And it's empty. And Mama is still sitting on the other egg faithfully, but I'm going to see if I can show you. She's going to probably pick me. There's the baby. We'll get to see more later. But for now, proud mother. This is her first hatched chick. Baby pigeons, day 2. I've pretty much left them alone until now. And I did check once, and I did see there are 2 in there, but I actually don't even know if they're alive. And I haven't seen the parents feed them at all. But all she has to do to feed them is just move aside a little bit and regurgitate some crop contents. Let's just take a peek. She's probably gonna peck me. Let's see those babies, honey. Let's see those babies. Oh my goodness, she's pecking. Oh my goodness, looky there. Look at them. They're so cute and so ugly at the same time. Yeah, they're doing fine. Good job, Mommy. You give them unlimited feed. I need to come in here and clean all this up when they're feeding their babies. Daddy, you're doing a good job too. He was sitting on them for most of yesterday. Okay, quick, this is the first time I've seen this. Mom and Dad pigeon are off the nest. Daddy has taken his shift from about 11 o'clock this morning till just now. And he is off, and in no time, Mama will jump on. I'm gonna pull this nest out just a tiny bit. What a mess. But look at these babies, it's clean right where they're laying. You guys are so cute. Look at these buggers. I think baby pigeons are about the ugliest baby birds in the world. But I think they're incredibly cute. Turn this nest around so you can get a side view of this one. Look at that. Pigeon nests are terribly messy and skilllessly built. So I think I can actually replicate the level of the lack of skill that pigeons have for nest building. Here we go. There you go. That's a lot nicer and cleaner, isn't it? Come on, you fat, fat, fat baby pigeon. Look at this creature. They are the funniest. They're so fat. They're so fat and heavy. All right, you jump in there. We'll take this one. We'll get rid of it. Goodbye. Back over there in the corner. And no, this will not mess them up. All the trauma's over. Don't worry. You can go back to your babies now. All right, Grace, how old are our pigeons, baby pigeons now?
They're like a week or 2.
Yeah, I think they're about 2 weeks old. They are still incredibly ugly and cute. And pigeons are dedicated parents.
Ooh, careful.
I'm not going to say it's impossible to get them to abandon their babies, but generally they don't. So there's varying recommendations. Some people say don't touch them until this time, and some pigeon fanciers, as they are known, people who keep pigeons, handle them all the time from about a week old and on. They're funny little birds though. They sit in that nest all day, wait to be fed, and when they're ready to poop, most of the time they stick their little butt over the edge of the nest and poop right out of the nest. I just saw them do it. It's really funny. And it makes a terrible mess, but the nest stays pretty clean. Let's get a peek at them. Now they are so ugly and cute at the same time. Hey you guys, this is the big one. Probably was the first egg laid and hatched, and then here's the one that's a little smaller. Yeah, you guys are just too cute. Their beaks just outsize them so much. And they grow so fast and get so fat.
Yeah, Brighton's gonna keep the big one. He named it Sugar.
Sugar. That's a great name. For the first few days after they hatched, actually the first week, we would never have seen them if we didn't come lift up the mom and dad and peek under, because they were so dedicated in sitting on them and keeping them warm. But now that they're a little older, they've got something else in their mind. Let's talk about that. All right, what do these pigeons have in their mind now? What are they thinking about and planning on?
Laying more eggs.
Making more babies. Here's my question. Do they still want to go in that back corner nest in there? That's where they had picked that nest box. And I shut the door because I didn't want them...
And 2 different ones?
Yeah, I wanted them to just stay near their babies. Hello. How you doing?
Good.
What you doing? Just checking on the pigeons? The way you hold a pigeon, first step is to get your pigeons accustomed to you to the point that they don't freak out when you walk in. And for us, this took, honestly, just days, really. But they've gotten calmer and calmer and calmer.
They still won't let me touch them.
Yeah, they won't let us touch them generally. She will a little, but pigeons never are going to like to be held unless they bonded to you. The way you hold a pigeon is you get in pretty close and then pretty quick you grab it and you want to put their legs between 2 of your middle fingers and then fully grab their tail like this. And you don't want to ruffle them up or mess them up. You can damage their feathers. Anyway, they don't like to be held, but you can check them out and examine them. They're really pretty. I'm going to open one wing here and just let you see this really pretty grizzled pattern. This is the female. I'm going to let her go. She doesn't like that one bit. But that's fine. We don't handle them very much at all. It's just kind of, if you need to check them out or if they're injured or something, that's the way you grab them so you don't ruffle them up and mess them up too bad. One of the biggest things of pigeon care is keeping the loft clean, and it is a challenge because they poop a ton.
I'm going to show you what I do in the morning to clean it out and refresh their stuff. So this is their water container and this is their food container, and both of them need to be cleaned out and refilled. I'm just going to empty it out and I'm going to take off the lid so I can spray it out. Now I'm going to sweep it out because there's a lot of poop in here because they poop quite a bit.
You don't want a nasty buildup of dust and stuff. There are some health risks associated with pigeon feces. I generally believe that they're minimal, especially if you keep the loft clean and dry and you clean it regularly.
It's just like chickens.
Yeah, they do have, I think they have there's a little higher risk than chickens, but chickens carry almost all the things that pigeons do, but pigeons are a little more likely to carry some of the things that you can get sick from. But it's, yeah, it is just like chickens. I mean, you don't want to like breathe all the dust from their coop. You don't want to do a like oral fecal transmission and catch disease. So we always wash when we come out of here. We always wear shoes in here. It's a challenge keeping it clean because they just poop constantly.
Yeah, it's messy
It's only going to get worse. And the reason you really get homing pigeons isn't to keep them in a cage, it's to let them fly free because they love to fly. And so we're real close to actually having a setup for that. Here's why we've not flown our pigeons at all, even though we've had them for 2 months. Because those pigeons, even though they're about a year old, they're mature, but they've never flown. They've never flown out of a loft anywhere. They still might fly all the way back to wherever in the Midwest, Illinois, or wherever they come from. They might attempt to fly that, just going on their like geolocation in their heads. They might leave. Because you have to let them hatch out multiple sets of squabs before you ever consider flying a pair of pigeons that's mature that you purchase. And even then you still can lose them. So our plan is once these babies are probably about 6 weeks old, we'll start accustoming them to having a view into the surrounding area. And then, big day, we'll start releasing them every day. And as soon as the babies are on a really good schedule where they fly together and they come back and come through a trap, they call it, then we will eventually attempt to let out one of the mature ones at a time. The goal would be to have all the pigeons go fly every day.
Yeah, we let one of them at a time, because if we let the pair out, they might be like, oh, we're a pair, we can go find a new nesting spot.
Pigeons are driven by a desire to reproduce, and they're driven home by their essentially, of their home and their territory and their loft and
their mate.
And their mate and their feed and their nest. So you can provide motivation for a flying bird by keeping its mate at home. So homing pigeons are amazing. We're excited to have them. We eventually may fly, even those babies, eventually may fly them up to 300 miles from a 300-mile distance back here. And that would be a lot of driving, so we're envisioning actually handing them off to our friends whenever they go on vacation for like 100 and 200-mile flights. That is once they're trained and we're confident that they can do those flights. What's your plan for all your friends having pigeons?
Giving them really good prices on my pigeons.
But what was you thinking of, what would be cool about all your friends having them?
Because we could switch and like do messages.
You could trade pigeons whenever you saw them and then send messages back to each other on their legs.
Yeah.
And how many baby pigeons do pigeons have in a year? One pair?
Like 12.
12 pairs?
Yeah, 12 pairs.
So 24 babies a year?
Yeah.
Unless you stop them.
Or, yeah, but they can also have more because those babies will pair.
True. In about 6 months.
Yeah.
We look forward to just showing you this journey as we go in this little hobby, Grace's hobby that I'm fascinated with. And we'll keep you up to date as we go along.